We're live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to SB Sports Talk Radio, Episode 1. I'm S. Soden, Commissioner of Soden Bowl, and with me is the Alpha Heel 7, Co-Commissioner.
Hello.
Today, we'd like to talk about some of the settings and sliders for Soden Bowl. In the general chat, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and type in there and we'll address them on the radio. So, Alpha, go ahead and introduce yourself because I think you're new to a lot of the users here.
Yeah, so my gamer tag is Alpha Heel 7. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I've been Maddening for probably about 20 plus years. I remember it on Sega Genesis, and ever since then I've tried to kind of every year it seems like I've tried to make it more immersive to me. I mean, I started out with playing in my buddy's basement with about 6 of us, and we did our own offline league, and now it's kind of gotten to the point where you could just play 32-man leagues, and people are doing podcasts and radio shows and everything like that. So that's kind of where I'm at. I love doing content, so I'm a very content-driven person. I do a lot of graphics. I've done graphics for other leagues and shows and everything, so I'm excited to be here. I'm part of SB Soden Bowl, and excited for everybody that's in. It looks like we have a great league. I love seeing the chat. The chat's always active. People are always asking questions and trying to get, just get to know each other. I love it, and I think that the most successful leagues are the ones that actually have a good community of users. So I'm just excited to be here.
Awesome, and welcome to the crew. We have a pretty good staff here. Most of us have been around since SB's inception back in 2009. We started the first year that Madden actually rolled out the CFM. Most of us were playing ESPN's 2K, and then we moved over once that stopped. I myself, I'm usually the Patriots. I'm an avid Patriots fan, and over the years, I guess I've kind of represented the Patriots since there's a little bit of controversy with some of the leagues, some rules being changed, yada, yada, yada. So I fit that Patriots mold pretty well. But most of the guys here are good guys. Just roll on and take suggestions and grow the community as best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say this. I know that you're from Colorado, and it hurts my heart being an avid Broncos fan. I mean, I live in Ohio, but I'm an avid Broncos fan, and it hurts my heart that you are a Patriots fan. I just have to say that. So.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I'm originally from Massachusetts. The military brought me here to Colorado. I just decided to stay. But I don't hate the Broncos. I actually enjoy the Broncos. I cheer on them being the local team here. I actually won a Super Bowl with the Broncos. I don't know if you remember back in the day, they had the Make-A-Wish Foundation players, and I had the only female quarterback that they released, and she was the Super Bowl MVP.
Wow, I did not know that. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that they had female quarterbacks, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they had the whole Make-A-Wish thing, but when you clicked on her profile picture, it was a female, but I mean the game didn't really show it as such, but her profile picture did.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
Well, settings and sliders. Generally for the first half, I'd say about 5 years, we kept the sliders pretty much at default. Now that the CPU's kind of gotten a boost, and some people can't make a game, so we like to have them play the CPU rather than get a forced win. So the sliders now, for the last 3 years, we've tend to kind of decrease the CPU, kind of neuter them a little bit, if you will, because they will shred you playing against that CPU quarterback. I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
As you asked me, I mean, I know that all Madden, it's so funny because last year it was like there was this hardcore fan group that loved all Madden, and then there was this hardcore fan group that loved all pro. Myself, I'm kind of in the middle. I kind of like both, but I do feel that when you're on all Madden, it's like you have psychic computer play, and I feel like it does make up for a lack of sometimes it makes up for a lack of, I guess, user skills, in my opinion. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. I know we're trying to get this started. I do apologize. I know you threw the link in the general chat, but I think the one that I have there is actually the new link for this one. We were doing a test run, so that's That's why we had that old link up. So this one actually should work. Let us know if it's not working. We definitely want to make sure that we're getting you guys. You guys are able to hear us and able to interact with us, because we definitely want those questions. We would definitely want you to, start asking. We want to have a great discussion here for our first episode.
Yeah, all Madden was the thing. We've never really had an all-pro season here. I know you get those linebackers that just kind of know where the ball's going to be. They kind of leap up, but I think it kind of levels the playing field a little bit, because you've got a wide variety of user skills. I mean, you've got some guys that are just elite. Like the Chargers owner. I mean, that guy is just insane. Same with Seahawks 37-26. I mean, that guy's user skills are phenomenal. And you pit him against somebody like, say, the Rams, who doesn't play much. It kind of gives the Rams a little bit more of a fighting chance. I mean, he's not going to win, but at least he can stay in the game a little bit, because some of those AI guys can kind of help him out a little bit where his user skills are lacking. So I think it kind of levels the playing field a little bit there, and it also gives us more of a challenge, I feel.
No, it's a good point, and I think a lot of what you said, you bring up a great point about some of the users that don't have like the greatest skills, maybe just because they don't play a lot, So it does help kind of even the playing field a little bit, with still being able to gift the guys that have the stick skills, for them to be able to still win games and still use that user skill to I don't know, dominate, but yeah, definitely be able to win games and progress their team. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that aspect of it.
So looking from a slider standpoint, obviously the setting is going to be on all Madden, at least for now, unless the community has a huge outrage. They never usually do. We'll get the onesies or twosies for all pro. Usually those guys don't stick around too long, though. They tend to be like an interception machine. Sliders, looking at last year, one thing I see this year in the CFM that I've played kind of offline is injuries still seem to be a little bit unrealistic. I mean, week 3 and I've already got 7 guys injured, and some of the injuries just don't really translate into the play. They weren't hitting the leg, or they just come down with broken collarbones. So we tend to decrease the injuries, usually down to at least like a 25 or 30, because the one thing I don't want is people to, you got some of these teams like the Browns or the Bills, they've got maybe 1, 2, or 3 superstar players, and go and lose that player week 1. It really makes it tough for them during the season. So I don't like to see that. But then again, I also want to reward players who are able to build through depth, or kind of use those players to kind of come in and fill a role. So I don't want to eliminate it, but I kind of want to make it a little more realistic.
Last year, it's funny that you say that. Last year, I remember that I can't remember if it was like 29 or 30, but I swear it was like if you had one or the other, it was like you had a ton of injuries or no injuries. It was like as soon as you hit that threshold, it was like it completely killed all of that. So hopefully we can find a medium that will help balance out for everyone.
I agree, and I'm gonna throw a plug here to Operation Smarts. Those guys have been great with their sliders. I mean, we've used a few of their users' sliders in there, and they're excellent. So again, we'll look at some of those and just kind of adjust them a little bit, but you won't see a huge slider increase or decrease unless something is completely broken during the season. I don't want somebody to get used to playing one way and mid-season all of a sudden it's gone. I mean, the one thing that comes to mind for me is it was about 3 years ago. We had your blessed 0-0 Redskins owner, and he is great at just picking you apart on offense. We found there was a bit of a glitch with the inside out, or Z route it's called, and we totally eliminated it. About 3/4 of the way through the season, we actually banned it, and it hurt him because he was just so good at it. And once you took that out of his playbook, it was hard for him to adjust because he really set you up for the drop. So I don't want to do that to somebody again. I felt bad for him. He probably would have won the Super Bowl that year if we didn't do that.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want to do. You definitely want to make a level playing field and eliminate any type of glitches or abusing the AI, which a lot of leagues do a good job of that. They do a good job of eliminating that, but it's hard because as a commissioner, you want to help eliminate that stuff, but you don't want to have to eliminate someone's game plan like you had just said. So it's like it's trying to find a balance of both. So.
Yeah, and I feel looking down the slider list, I think injuries will have to Another one that I like to play with a little bit is the field goal accuracy and the punt accuracy. Rewarding guys for being sim owners, that means taking the field goal, punting when you should. I feel like they should be rewarded for that. So we tend to increase that all the way. So that way they have the most accurate punts. They're not, if they're a little off on the kick meter, it doesn't kill them. They don't have that field goal that's just going out to the left out in no man's land. So it kind of helps them in that aspect. So I think what I want to do is have that field goal kick accuracy and that punt kick accuracy maxed out at 100 again for this year. That would make it the 4th year in a row we've done that.
It's very interesting. And hopefully, we can get the league started in a good amount of time, but not before they throw any patches out there that could break the online CFM. So hopefully we can kind of get all this together at the right time and just make it all work, and before Madden screws up the game, I think so.
So questions, guys. I see some chatter here in the chat. I guess I'll be taking questions from Discord. If you, Alpha, if you want to handle questions from YouTube, we can go ahead and answer those. Thank you, Swing. I appreciate the comment.
Absolutely.
Swing says you guys are naturals.
Yeah.
Sounds like a podcast or sports talk radio. Well, I don't know about. I think I won't quit my day job.
Well, keep in mind, guys, we want this to benefit the league. It's not just us doing this for our health. So if you guys have anything that you want to see on this, or if you want us to progress the show into something even more, I've got some surprises lined up for us. So I'm not going to tell everybody what I'm going to do, but just stay tuned. Stay in this league, keep active, keep chatting, and I'm going to do some really cool stuff for you guys, because I like this league, and I think that it's definitely worthy of taking it to the next level. So you guys put your questions in there. Let us know anything that you guys want us to talk about, even if it's just real football, because I know, hey, real football really starts tonight. So anything like that, or anything with the league, you got the commissioner right there, so he's going to be able to answer anything that you have right now. So shoot any questions.
I've got a question from Don4021, our Rams owner. He wants to know, what are we going to do to enforce this rules this season versus kind of the lack of rule enforcement we had last season? That's a great question, and I've bounced that thing around in my brain all year. Last year we had a really relaxed kind of enforcement of rules. I mean, rules were still enforced, but there was really no penalties. There was a couple guys who got kicked out of the league for just blatantly violating the rules. But aside from that, I mean, if you ran the score up, or you weren't playing 100% sim, you just kind of got a slap on the wrist. So I know we have a lot of new guys this year. What I don't want to do is ruin your guys' experience. You put all this hard work into building your team, multiple seasons. You have a history, here. I don't want to ruin that. I don't want to, just all of a sudden kick you out, or all of a sudden you get banned for 3 games. So I think what we'll do is just kind of use the community for feedback. If you guys are doing something wrong, I mean, we live in the world of instantaneous chat. So if you're playing a player and he's going for it on 4th down where it might not be sim, or he's just blatantly violating the rules, send him a message on Discord, pause the game. That brings up another point. Pausing the game, guys. If your opponent pauses the game, do not unpause the game on him. He is pausing the game for a reason, or she is pausing the game for a reason. I know we have a female owner out there. Let's respect that. And he may be trying to get you a message. So let's kind of keep Discord open on your phone or PC, however you game. But I mean, we're here to play against each other and have fun. So let's keep it that way. If you have an issue with somebody, let's be professional about it. New users, you new guys out there, we have some unique rules. So make sure you're reading the rules tab. One of my pet peeves is people that move multiple players pre-snap. Don't do it. If you're going to move a guy manually, this doesn't count for line shifts or adjustments, moving your coverage up, back, forth, wherever you want to do it, slides, you can do that. However, if you want to take a linebacker and you move them out, you take that middle linebacker, you move them outside, and then you switch off and grab somebody else. You can't do that here. If you're going to manually move that guy, you've got to control that guy into the snap. Now, a lot of you guys are going to ask why. Well, it's easy. The biggest one of the biggest issues with Madden on defense is the nano blitz. They try to take it away every year. Now they actually kind of reward that if you're playing in some league. But the easiest way to nano blitz is to manually move multiple guys into a position that confuses the AI. So to put a damper on that, we've removed that about 6 or 7 years ago. We disallowed that, and we haven't had a problem with the nano blitz. So guys, if you're going to move a guy manually, if you're going to manually bring that safety up into the box, make sure you're controlling him at the snap of the football. As soon as it's snapped, you can switch off, do what you will. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Alpha?
No, I love it. I mean, you're setting a precedent, and most leagues have that same rule. They don't allow guys moving multiple guys. I feel like if you want to disguise a blitz or disguise a cover 2 or cover 3, Madden allows you to do that with some of the tools that they provide by hitting the I believe it's the Y button and then left, right, up, down, or on the stick. So moving multiple guys, I love that rule. I feel like if you move a guy, you have to stick with him. So I feel like it's fair. I feel like most leagues have something along that line, if not that type of same rule. So I do like that, and I like that you enforce it and kind of set that tone at the beginning of the league.
All right, trade rules. This is a huge one. We've got this actually in the private part of Discord. Our staff members are kind of torn 50-50 on this. The one thing that we don't like to see, and I know it happens in every league, is we have that guy. I'm just going to use Green Bay. Barney, I know you're out there. This isn't against you. You've been here since 2012. So I'm just using your team as an example. Somebody takes the Packers. They trade Aaron Rodgers. And then they play for 3 or 4 weeks, and all of a sudden they realize they're not as good as they thought they were, which is okay. I mean, all of us aren't going to win the Super Bowl. And they quit. Now we have to try to fill this Packers team and explain to the user coming in why he has a first-round draft pick instead of Aaron Rodgers. So we are very strict when it comes to trades. We don't actually have any trade rules defined other than you can't trade a rookie. Anybody that you drafted year 1, you can't trade them. Keep them. And if you sign a free agent, you have to wait 2 advances to trade that free agent. So that way you're not just gobbling up a free agent for trade bait. So, community suggestions, we'd love to hear them. So new guys, don't be upset if we don't allow you to trade Phillip Rivers, LaShawn McCoy. Let's just kind of wait and see how you guys play out. I know we have some users in here. Jay Cork, I know he decided not to play this season, and that's fine. But he's a guy who will literally trade away his whole team, but he stays. He doesn't like those guys. Anybody that gets over the age of 27, they're pretty much gone on his team, and he stays competitive with the guys. I know D. Ellis, you're out there, the Bears owner. That guy can turn a roster over and play with almost, a 70 or above, 70 or 80 overall player. That guy will play at an elite level with those players, so he'll trade away the high contract guys. So we kind of take it by a user basis, I'd say. So a guy like Swing on These wants to trade away, I don't know, Garoppolo back to the Patriots. I might actually allow that one.
Crow said in chat, he said, I'm not as good, that's why I don't trade. So, and that's a good point. Some guys, they just want to stick with the team that they have. And him being the Eagles, he probably doesn't want to, I think he has the highest overall in the game, so he's probably right on that one.
Well, Crow does this every year. Crow claims he's not good. He's the Bill Belichick of the league. He'll sit there and he will downplay his players' talents or his talents, and he will promote everybody else's talents. And then you play him, and he's pretty damn good. I've seen this guy make brilliant comebacks. I've seen him make some great plays. He's consistent. He's just never really had a good team, in my opinion. I mean, this is the first year. He's got his Eagles. They won the Super Bowl. Well, I think he's going to be a playoff team. He plays in a tough division, but I think Crow's going to turn the corner. I don't think he's won a Super Bowl here in Soden Bowl, but he's competed on a pretty high level as far as I'm concerned.
And it's funny that you say that because, I mean, you look at the roster, and, I mean, the only kryptonite to them might be the Cowboys just because of their offensive line, but he's got a good defensive line. He's probably got the best pass rushers in the game as far as depth-wise. So he maybe Dallas's kryptonite to that offensive line. So that's a good point. I do want to bring up a question in the chat. Jimmer B82 says, in my other league, users cannot trade for their first season. Also, there is an untradeable list that the commissioners alter year to year depending on the overall age, etc. What do you think about this?
I think that's a good idea, but here's the problem, and I'm on Jimmer's side. We've had this. We actually had it overall and age-based, like he says, but it really puts a hamper on teams. I know the Browns have a pretty good roster in Alpha. You've got them, so I'm sure they're going to be a playoff team. But let's use the Browns under, say, I don't know, random user who's not that good. And they get that Browns team, and the roster's just not there. They have nobody to trade. They may have that 190 overall player that maybe they can grab some picks from, or they can get a younger superstar player. It makes that almost impossible for them. They have to build through the draft, so it kind of washes out that first year for them. So I see the other side of the argument, but Jimmer, I agree with you. I have no regrets in adding that to the rules, other than let's see what the community wants. On a side note, kind of off topic here, Jets owner D Soden won. Congratulations, he got married this week. So
congrats.
I don't know what Brandy's going to think of his Madden playing time, but we'll see. But congratulations, my friend. And
it does take a special. I will say this. As somebody that's married, it does take a special female to I don't want to say allow you, because that's I guess disrespectful, but to accept the time that it does to play in a league and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. He's an active user. He tends to get fed up with the engine a little bit on Madden. No engine's perfect. I don't really care for the engine at times. I know EA Sports, I'm sorry if you're listening. There are some issues with the engine that I don't like, but I do like the community, and I'm in it for the long haul, obviously. I was off last year, started my own business with a few other guys here in Colorado, so that gobbled up a lot of my time. But I have some free time now as we've hired some guys, and they can go out there and work. So I'm here, guys. Look forward to continuing this thing and growing it. And this year, we're going to focus on one franchise. Maybe next year we'll open it up to more franchises. We'll kind of see how things go, but we're going to need a bigger staff list. I think the production that Alpha, myself, the rest of the staff want to do, I think focusing on one league for now will give us the best experience possible. We'll probably have some tournaments in there. I do have some announcements coming out soon. I may actually announce it now. I'm just kind of waiting for an email from the NFL Players Association. If we can get that contract, we can provide a lot more things for you guys. Some of your favorite players, maybe we can hold some interviews and maybe a game with Jimmy Garoppolo for Swing on D's. But, yeah, some good plans. Crow mentions the Players League. Now, we can host the Players League. I don't know. I know people are 50-50 on that. For those of you that don't know what a Players League is, basically you create yourself. You become a starter on your favorite team, and we play a franchise like that over the course of many seasons. So we may do that. We'll just have to see what the interest level is here. The one thing I don't want is that Players League to step on the toes of the main league, Soden Bowl. So we'll have to figure that one out. Let's see. Swing on these.
Chica Rop. I've never heard him call that, but I love that name. I'm going to use that from now
on. He brings up a good point here. Superstar development. So the last season we had of M18, we had some guys who have donated money. Now we conducted a vote on Discord, and everybody elected to roll the prize money instead of cashing everything out, rolling it into this season of Madden 19. So what we have done is anybody that donates $25 or more to the league, that money gets put back into the prize money. And what we've done is that player then gets to select one player on his roster per $25 that he can change to superstar development. And that's done through edit through the roster. If everybody's good with that, we can roll that into Madden 19. If nobody likes that idea, what we can do is just kind of cut the prizes for everybody. What you're owed right now, we'll cut the prizes out to you, and we'll go away with it for the Madden 19. If you guys like that idea, cool. I know some guys had voiced some concern about it because it becomes a pay-to-play type thing, where maybe you've got S. Soden and the Patriots, who has a lot of funding, and then you've got the Rams, who maybe doesn't have much funding at all, and he can't improve his team, whereas the Patriots can improve it financially. So
what
interesting to hear what you guys think about that.
So totally, I dig the idea. In my opinion, obviously, I think that there should be not only monetary value, but maybe other ways that guys can actually earn those points. Maybe by putting a point system together. I've seen other leagues. MSR is a fantastic league. They do the same thing where they actually have a point system. People who step up and do, help out when it comes to commentary, or help out when it comes to producing, or help out when it comes to writing articles or doing graphics and stuff like that. If guys want to step up and do something like that, if you've got a strength, even if it's you're crap at graphics, but you like to do this, stepping up and doing stuff like that, I think that'd be a great way to earn points and maybe max that out to where you can only do 1 or 2 players. I think that would be a tremendous way to add on to the monetary value for those guys who cannot afford to donate that money.
That's a great topic. We did that last year too. We had a lot of guys donate. The one that comes to mind for me was D. Ellis. I think he was the Bears. I'm not sure which team he was, but he had a couple players that were playing above and beyond. He was highly active in the chat, so we went in and bumped his things. A couple of his players' attributes. He had a linebacker, no-name linebacker, leading the league in tackling, so we gave him a little bit on the tackling. And then we went in and one of his players moved him up to superstar after year 1. But I guess we'll kind of see what the community wants. Great question by Easy Wins. I don't want this to.
I definitely want. I definitely want to hear that one.
He says, quote, I have been in previous leagues where they branched off and focused their attention on other things. How is this league going to keep 32 owners year-round in one league? No one wants to play the CPU. I agree with you, Easy. My best answer to that is staying active from a community standpoint and a staff standpoint. Now, it's the staff's job to advertise, and that's what we're doing. I want to say we're about 6 deep on the waiting list right now, Easy. So we can afford to lose 6 players right now. We can replace them almost instantly. I'm going to keep working on that list. Now, I assume guys that are on the waiting list, they're going to find other leagues, and I don't blame them. One thing that I do personally, and I don't know if it's kind of tacky, but what I'll do is actually search the online section of Madden, and any league that has an open, non-passworded league, I'll join. And as long as it's not a league that I know that's on the internet or anything like that, what I'll do is actually message the guys and see if they want to join a CFM that has some structure to it, website rules, et cetera, et cetera. And that's actually how I'd say probably 40% of our users right now, that's how they've gotten here, is by me going in, recruiting them. They decide they like it and they stay. So I will stay active on that. I may actually create a team, an advertising team, to kind of help us through the summer months where people start to get sick of Madden, they go on vacation. That seems to be when the leagues kind of fizzle out. So Easy, I'll stay on top of it, my friend. I may actually recruit your assistants if you want to help out, and you can provide some feedback on what you feel should be the best ways to go about that.
And one thing I want to add to that is that I'm showing my age here. I'm 39, but I've been doing this for a long time. I've seen good leagues. I've seen good leagues that you think that they're going to be great and they end up fizzling out. So I totally get where he's coming from with that. So, but I can tell you, as long as Soden is committed to this and keeping this going, in all honesty, as I've seen this, the community seems awesome. From what it's one of the most active chats that I've seen. Guys are constantly talking in there, and honestly, if you keep it fresh like that, people chatting together and just talking football, and it's going to be a league that nobody wants to leave, especially if we can continue to make this more immersive. Why would you want to leave a league that has everything you want and also provides content for you to be able to watch? And again, you don't have to participate, but be able to watch and just say, hey, yeah, he mentioned my quarterback that I just drafted this season or something like that. So it starts with obviously the head guy, which is Soden, but it also has a lot to do with the guys too. If you lose a game, don't quit. I mean, sometimes, man, I've went 5 and 11. And the next season I ended up turning around because I actually molded that team the way I wanted it. and I played better that way. I think with a lot of people, sometimes life gets in the way, but staying on top of that list and, staying on top of the waiting list. I can tell you, Easy, I am a member of Operation Sports. I have an account there since 2004. I know that EA Forums is really good. I know Twitter. I'd really like to get us really active in the Twitter world to keep that going. Also, League Crawler. League Crawler is a great way to recruit some of these guys on there. That's actually how I found Soden Bowl. So, keeping those fresh. Now, I personally, I have Facebook and I'm in some of these groups. I personally don't like some of the guys that are in there, but you never know. You just find good. You find good owners from everywhere. And the first place I always tell people, I say, look, I asked the league. You got a buddy. You're a great owner, man. You got a buddy that wants to join. So keeping that stuff going and just, continuing this hot streak, just continuing the fire going, I think that's really going to help out. And I'm really excited for what, Soden's going to do and what a lot of us are, going to step up and do. So it takes everybody. It's not one person. It's going to take all of us to continue to make this league thrive and to go to the next level.
Easy. You bring up another topic here, and I'm going to eat a little bit. He says, someone said this league always goes dead mid-year with half CPU, so you go into other leagues' Discords and recruit. I've never gone into anybody else's Discord. Like I said before, I tend to grab new guys. I like to bring new guys from the in-game system and introduce them to an organized CFM. I think if you ask a lot of the people here in Soden Bowl, that's where most of them came from. I don't like bringing guys from other leagues simply because they bring that other league's mentality here. Now, I'm not saying I won't do it. I do welcome guys who know how to play sim football. But then you get kind of a rivalry. And we do have some rivalry with a couple other leagues. There were some guys who left, created another league, and so on and so forth. So I'm not quite sure where you're getting that from. But from my standpoint, I honestly don't care about another league. The more out there, the merrier. I know we're a part of Madden Accord, and we're trying to build a community of CFMs out there. So whether it says Soden Bowl or it says MSR, it's awesome. As long as you guys are having fun out there, that's what matters to me. As far as mid-year CPU, back to eating crow here. Well, last year, as I said before, I started my own business, so I'm the one to blame there. And we did go about 50% active on Soden Bowl. We had two leagues, though. We had Pro League in there, and we did away with Pro League this year, so that way we can kind of fill that league up with the other half. So that's my plan there, is one, to only have one league for now. Two is for me not to go active. And if I have something come up, we're delegating authority here at Soden Bowl this year. This is going to be probably the first year that we've really done that. I've kind of, years past, I've kind of bit off more than I can chew. I'm out there doing the website, advertising, trying to stay competitive inside the game, trying to provide stats for everybody, get myself burned out a little bit. So we're going to have a full staff crew here. If staff members aren't active, they're not going to be staff members. Those of you new guys out there, if you're active and you want to help out, guess what? You'll be a staff member and you'll be rewarded. So that's my plan, and I'm sticking to it.
And these are great questions, guys. Keep them coming. We want to, even if they're questions that make you make us uncomfortable, it's definitely stuff that we want to answer. And I got to give it to Soden. He picked that question. He saw it, and he's like, yeah, I want to answer that. So it takes a great leader to be able to do that and be able to admit, where you've made mistakes in the past. And I'll be honest with you, man, I've actually ran a league myself. It's not easy. I had it going for a couple years on PS4, and if you don't have the right people in place to help you run it, that's the people are the most important part. It really is. It's if you don't have a good staff and you don't have a good community, you're done. It doesn't matter what league you are. So, keep the questions coming. It's awesome.
Yeah. Back to the league here. Slider settings, I think we'll do a good job of taking care of that and adapting as the season goes. You guys out there, make sure you're mixing your plays up. This is a new Madden. Zone isn't as good as it was last year. I can tell you that just from running it this year. Work more on your man coverage. It seems like the turnovers that I've got, I think I have 6 interceptions in my CFM, albeit it's against the CPU. But um, they're all on man coverage. So if I can give you guys a defensive tip, play zone, and then when you want your turnover, you want to create a big play on defense, run with the man. Do some man coverage, maybe. Don't sit out there in a cover 2 man or they'll pick you apart. Bring a blitz, alternate man zone if you know how to do that, with your defensive hot routes and play assignment. Do something like that. But the other thing I've got for you guys tonight, one, I'd like to announce the sponsorship from GameStop again. GameStop helped us out. It was about 2010, 2011. They provided some basic prizes for us. I reached out to them again this year. The one contingency that we have is we have to remain active. So you're going to see lots of content on the website. If you guys can comment on that content on the website, I know Easy, you asked about this when you first joined the chat. It's not mandatory. You don't have to be a writer or anything like that, but just a simple comment goes a long way. It shows activity. That activity lets me get more sponsors for you guys. More sponsors I can get, the cooler things I can provide for you. Right now, we're looking at some Xbox swag for the first year's winner. Maybe a new Xbox controller, custom NFL, official NFL logoed controller, your favorite team on your controller, something like that. Of course, depending what you guys decide with the prize money from M18, we may throw that in as well. Let's see. What do you guys got for the start of the league? I know everybody's getting anxious. Some guys want to wait for the first roster update. I read on Twitter on Madden Accord, these guys brought up a very good point. I know one league actually goes in and adjusts the players. They start their CFM now, and then any adjustments that were made to speed and all that stuff, they'll actually go in and adjust it once those are met to match the roster update that EA put out. I think that's a good idea. One thing I don't want to do is wait forever because people just kind of get bored. I think they want to get the season going, maybe play the preseason. What do you guys got? Post it in the chat. Let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, and I love Jimmer's question. I was actually going to ask this myself. How will Solden Bowl handle the new draft class import feature? Great question.
I've got a great answer for him with open arms. I think this is a feature long overdue. Okay. Here's my thought. Do the commissioners and people that have access to the roster file coming in have an? Sure they do. Now let's look at roster files from the past. Anybody that can use Google and knows where to find that roster class in a CSV format, they have an advantage over you there. So to me, it's kind of a wash. I think what this does is it allows us to have that custom draft class that we all want, not just the same player. We know what he's going to be, and yeah, maybe his development might change, but it's still the same player. You can still Google him. I think this is a great feature. I think it should have been here maybe 6 or 7 years ago. So I like it. I don't. What's the public think about it, Jimmer? What do you think about it?
Yeah, while Jimmer's typing his answer, I could tell you that the only downside to it is that as the commissioner, you're going to have complete control over it. You'll be able to see everybody's stuff, but I don't think that's a big. Excuse me, I don't think that's a big issue. I think we can trust you enough not to go through. I will say that if I see superstar development on all 7 rounds of your players, I know you're up to something.
One idea that just pops in my mind here is it could be a tradition for the Super Bowl guy. Maybe the Super Bowl guy can download that roster for us. We can give him temporary access to upload the roster since he's going to have pick number 32.
Yeah.
I tend to trade my picks away again. Ask all these guys in here. Very rarely do I draft because when you're running the draft, you don't have time to draft. A lot of times I'll trade away my 1 through 3 and just kind of, I play off of free agency. Like I said, I'm the true Patriots owner, and Bill Belichick style, that draft pick just tends to get traded away for more next year. So I think we'll iron something out that's fair. If you see me drafting superstar players, sure. Then we can complain about it. Maybe I'll trade you that superstar player. But I think we can dictate some rules that will help prevent that. Maybe, like I said, that Super Bowl winner, or maybe somebody that doesn't have a first-round draft pick, maybe they can be the guy to get that file and upload the file for us. That'll kind of do away with that.
I think the coolest part is that they're actually all going to be they're going to do like 2019, then 2020, then 2021. That way, if you download from the same person, the creator, you're not going to get multiple players in the same draft. So I'd like that. I think that's going to be a great feature.
Yeah, I agree. Swing, yeah, I'm with you. Swing says one of the features I'm most excited about is the draft class. We've always had coach leagues, thought of owners instead of just having more control. Sure. I agree, man. I mean, we might be able to use some of the actual rookies coming out in the NFL. Oh, guys hate restarting leagues. We created another league, spun off of the rookies, and actually started the league out at the rookie draft. Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now we can import that draft class and use it and move on. I mean, we may be able to play with Barry Sanders' kid, maybe Joe Montana's kid. Swing, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so we've always had coach leagues, thoughts on owners league instead for more control. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. Guys, the one thing we're not going to do here, we're not doing here, we're not restarting the league. I don't care if there's a league-wide bug. It doesn't matter. Soden Bowl's running from inception to its demise when Madden 20 comes out. So, get that out of your head. Those of you guys who may get stuck with a bad team, you're going to be stuck with that team unless another team opens. Is Jerry's kid going to use Stickum, Swing? So one thing we're going to need to know is when do we want to kick off? Josh, you bring up a great point. Atlanta Falcons owner, Josh Lerma. Some guys don't have the game yet. If you don't have the game yet, please let us know. We're not going to give your team away. As long as you're active here in the chat, some of us may help you get the game. I know we have some guys that are financially on hard times. I don't mind helping you guys out if I can. Dan, I know you just paid for a wedding, and those are expensive. So, talk to me offline, guys. You don't have to do it in public. If you guys need some help, let me know. New guys, welcome to the league. I love having new guys in the league, some new blood, some new ideas, fresh ideas, some activity, younger guys. Just kind of, you can talk smack in the chat, guys. Have at it. Just be respectful. And remember, we got females in the chat too. So watch what you say. I'm excited to have Warren 123, or Warren got stick back in the league. That guy's got some stick skills. He's true to his name. So those of you who play Carolina, watch out. That guy's got some serious game. Nice to have D-Sode1 back. He's taken 2 years off of Madden. He's a very, very avid Jets fan. He doesn't win the AFC East from me, but he may this year. But the guy is a great defensive player, and he can run the ball. Alpha, I don't know if you know anybody else in the leagues. If you got any commentary and anybody you've played, by all means, let's hear it.
I really wish I had. I have not played anybody in this league yet, so I was actually going to do a prediction video, kind of like a Soden Bowl preview, but I have no idea how anybody plays, so that would do me. I would probably be completely wrong out of this. So
the one thing I look at is however, I don't have the linebacker skills that Smokey has. I would say Smokey, and maybe NFL, the Charger zone. Those two guys probably have the best defensive skills. Those guys can absolutely bring it on defense, and they do it without crazy blitzing. They just great user skills, great play calling. Offensively, I'd have to say You're Blessed comes to mind, or Seahawks 37-26. Those guys can just come out, spread the field, shred you. I know Josh Lerma is another one. Josh Lerma, he may not get a lot of notoriety during the season, but then season ends up being about 3/4 of the way through. You look at the stats, and all of a sudden the guy's got 4,000 yards passing and a 6-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and the guy's 8-1 or 9-1. So he's come on late in the last couple Madden. So I would say your offensive bets that I know, excluding all the new guys, but You're Blessed will be a top 5 passer. Seahawks would be a top 5 passer. And then, of course, Josh Lerma will be right there too. So I'd say those are my offensive picks. And then you've got some really good overall players. You got Triple Aries with the Cowboys. He's a good player. You've got D. Ellis. You've got Jamal, who's the Bucs owner. I haven't played him yet. He's supposed to be really good. And then you've got Hawaii. Made in Hawaii. I mean, this guy came on last year at the end of M18 and just absolutely owned the league, winning Super Bowl. I think he ended up winning 2 or 3 Super Bowls at the end there. So I'm very interested to see how Made in Hawaii does. But he had the Oakland Raiders and decided, so we'll see how he does. I think if he wins the Super Bowl with the Colts year one, I think there's no reason not to say he's the best player in the league.
Oh, absolutely. That's going to be a very hard team to rebuild. Hey, one thing I want to bring up. D. Soden said, how do you plan on hyping the Super Bowl? I know in past seasons we've attempted to live stream them. I would like to take an answer at this one. I've actually streamed for people, streamed for leagues, so we can actually set up a really cool production. We can actually set up hype in the Super Bowl is going to be part of the league. So we want to make sure we hype up the teams that we have in the game. So I will actually help provide the stream. So you have my word that we will stream as many games as possible and the ones that are important. So if we have if you have like a week 7 game and there's like two teams that are like 6-1 or 5-1 going at it, and they're in the same conference or same division, you better believe we're going to try to stream that game, set it up with both guys where we can set a time to be able to stream that game for you guys. So that's a great question. We want to stream as much as possible.
So Alpha brings up a great subject here, and this is something that we've talked about with the community. We haven't made a formal announcement yet, but Alpha brings a side of Soden Bowl that we have not had. He really brings that video presentation, the professionalism to Soden Bowl that we've been lacking. So Alpha, he's not going to head up the department because he's a pretty busy guy. So he's just going to kind of help out. But one thing we're looking from the community is some talking voices. Those of you guys who may want to announce a couple games, we're going to see if we can do that this year. So you're actually going to have an announcing, at least one person, maybe 2 if it's possible, that's going to go in there and announce the game for you. So not only is that game going to get streamed, it's going to get posted on YouTube. It's going to be on the site in an archived manner so you can go back and look at it. But it's also going to have an announcing crew on it that can do a play-by-play. And as he said, if he's going to host the game for you guys, you don't have to worry about hosting it. So I know, Dan, you've had some problems with that in the past. You're not going to have to worry about that anymore. But I don't know what you guys' thoughts on that are, but I think it'd be, a Monday night football game, renewing the broadcast on the game, or maybe Hawaii playing Made in Hawaii playing NFL Derwin 30 for the AFC lead in the number 1 spot. Oh, D. Soden says his wife Brandy would announce a game. I think that'd be.
There you go.
I don't know though, D. Soden. Brandy may want to be playing for you there, so you can you might be able to have a leg up when you're playing against somebody else if Brandy's playing for you. I think we've pretty much hit on everything we wanted to hit. A solid broadcast schedule for you guys. One thing I want to do with the broadcast is I want to introduce you guys into the channel. So what we'll do is we're probably going to conduct some interviews as long as Alpha's okay with it. Some of you guys, we might actually have you come on the station. We'll interview you. Get your thoughts on things and maybe check out how your team's doing, stuff like that. I know we're trying to get a license from the NFLPA. If we can get that license, we can provide some really cool stuff where we might actually get to talk to NFL players or coaches or past players, or something like that. We'll see if we can get some EA guys on here too so you guys can talk the engine with them. Let's see. Swing on these. That sounds awesome, especially with Alpha streaming. Should help minimize lag and the announcing. Never heard a league do that before. Well, we've never done that before, so it's going to be a first for us. So bear with us, but I'm sure with you guys out there, with the community providing feedback, we should be able to nail it down. And I know we've got some guys out there like Sargent. He really wants to get involved, so we're going to let him do some announcing, see how it goes. Maybe we might do a preseason game, maybe a Hall of Fame game, if I can still call it that. Maybe a Soden Bowl Hall of Fame game. That brings up another thing I want to do here. We, back in the day, I think it was about year 4 or year 5, we actually had a Hall of Fame. With the website changing to that different template there, we lost it. So I think I'm going to reintroduce the Hall of Fame, the Owner Hall of Fame, and then we'll introduce about 4 or 5 owners and induct them into the Hall of Fame. And then, every year after that, I think we'll induct one or two guys, and we'll talk about them during the Hall of Fame game, go from there. I think that's a good idea for us. One thing I definitely wanted to have planned for this year.
And one thing I want to mention is, as far as like you guys talking about doing announcing, I would love for you guys, if I sit behind here and just do the broadcasting and you guys want to do the announcing, that would be phenomenal. And just keep in mind, this is not that hard. I can help you. Both of us can help you. You don't have to be a pro at it. Normally, the way that we do it is I always like to have someone set as a play-by-play and then another guy doing the commentary or color commentary. So if you've got, if you know football, and you do feel comfortable on that, even if you don't feel comfortable, a couple times, you're on live, you'll get that down. It's a great experience. It makes it much more immersive, and it's fun, man. It's fun calling games. I've had a blast calling games before. It just it makes the league so much more immersive. A lot of guys, they're not into that, but that's for the most part, if you're a part of something like this that does that, you don't want to leave. Why would you want to leave? You find out on Thursday that your game's going to be broadcasted that weekend. And then you got the jitters as you're playing because now everybody's going to be watching. And trust me, we're going to try to get a lot of people out there to watch. We're going to do our advertising, getting our name out there. So it's a fun time to be a part of this league. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I want to throw a plug out to Madden Accord too. These guys are absolutely awesome. If you guys are on Twitter, check out Madden Accord. Great community. It's the whole community of CFM leagues like ours, other ones that are bigger than ours, some smaller than ours, but it's a really cool community. Ideas. It just betters everybody's experience. It also helps us, if some guys have some extra owners that don't have a team, they can, kind of go back and forth between leagues. I'm open to that. But just to plug out there for the guys over at Madden Accord, they are doing a phenomenal job. Their website looks amazing. Check them out on Twitter. Good bunch of guys.
They are, and one thing I want to add about them is that if you're into commentating, or if you're like into watching broadcast games, or if you're into watching or like reading. If you're into reading articles and stuff like that, it's a great website to catch up on other leagues and stuff. For me, I love doing it. I love watching other leagues. I'm not, like NBL, MSR. I love watching them. So it's a great website, a great group of guys that run it. So absolutely.
Well, looks like we have a Madden Accord guy here.
Absolutely.
Well, if you want to jump on the air with us, you can. Just throwing a plug out there. So yeah, again, we think you guys are doing a great job. Our community will be there to support you guys, much like you support us. D. Soden, again, how are we doing a pregame show for each week? Discuss matchups and keys to the game, etc. D, this is a technical aspect of the website that I have not discussed with you guys yet. If you go to our website, sodenbowl.com, you look at the top, there's a scoreboard up there. My plan is to have all the pregame information on that scoreboard. So that scoreboard is going to populate 8 weeks. So you'll see weeks 1 through 8. And then once we hit that week 8 point, you'll see week 8 through 16 or 17 on there. And when you click that matchup, what I wanted to do is, now I'm talking with the guys, maybe League Daddy or Daddy Leagues, or if Pickled Punk gets on it, he can finish that coding for us. We can just populate that information ourselves. So you get to see your team-based stats versus their team-based stats. So you can kind of scout the game yourself, but then, us two talking heads can go into the games and we can have a pre-game, pre-week matchup, kind of run down each team real quick, and that way the stats are in front of everybody. I think that's a great idea. You writers out there, if you want to write about it, we can do that too.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add on to that too, if you can also, when we do these broadcasting games, we are going to have a pregame show. Okay, so we're going to have a pregame show with graphics to show keys to the game, matchups, players that we want to watch. So just keep that in mind. So not only is he going to do it on his end, but we're going to do it on our broadcast. We're going to make it fun. It's not going to be throwing the stream up and us just talking over the game. We're going to make it look like an actual NFL game. So trust me, guys. You guys are in for a treat.
Yeah, tailgate will be here at the Soden Bowl office in Colorado. Those of you guys that like, just kidding. I don't think the wife would like you guys sitting outside tailgating, but you're more than welcome to try.
May get arrested or maced or something.
All right. So looking for our next broadcast, I think our next broadcast is going to be a preseason matchup. So we're going to get in, look at you guys' roster, figure out kind of who's the MVP caliber player on what team and what guys may move in the offseason. Will Tom Brady retire? Will the Jets finally have a starting quarterback? Did San Francisco maybe find that superstar quarterback in Garoppolo? We'll look into that. We might actually interview our. I know we got some new guys out there that are really anxious to get in here and kind of get their voices heard. If you guys have any more questions, please ask them now because we're going to start to wrap this show up here in the next 5-10 minutes. Let's see here. Welcome to Sue, Minnesota Vikings owner. To Sue. He's been around now, I'd say, about 6 years. This guy is phenomenal on offense. Great active user, always trying to better his game. Tends to get down on himself a little bit, so if you get a couple turnovers on him early, you can kind of force him to throw more. So I think he's going to turn that around this year and just kind of stay true to his form and kind of ignore whatever's going on inside the game. You know, if you guys throw a pick, don't worry about it. Shake it off. You know, it's probably the Madden engine. Probably not even your fault. I know that's what D-Soden likes to say. So, just kind of mix up your plays. Don't be afraid to scout your opponents, guys. I think that's a really cool feature from you guys. Twitch, Mixer, if you're using Mixer. Make sure you archive your games. It's nice to go back, maybe look at things you've done wrong and see if you can recorrect them. You might see that receiver on a certain play that's open under certain conditions. I can give you guys, you new guys out there, there are some highly competitive guys in this league, some guys that are really good and have a lot of experience. If you play them and you lose to them, don't worry about it. You'll get better. If you go out there and you beat them, great. That's what I want to see. I want to see some new guys in that Super Bowl. Hawaii was great.
So I don't know. I think we're having problems with the audio right now. I'm not able to hear you. Well, we'll give them a couple seconds here before we decide to sign off. But yeah, I cannot hear Soden, and I'm sure you guys can either, since I'm the one that's broadcasting it. So, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Mine disconnected and then came back online.
Okay. So, go ahead.
Yeah, no, thanks everybody for coming in. We're going to wind down the show. So again, thanks for listening, guys. We'll have a lot more content out for you in episode 2. We'll kind of fine tune a little bit of this broadcast so we can, maybe reduce the amount of technical issues we had at the beginning. But thanks, guys. We appreciate you and look forward to the next broadcast.
Absolutely. So we will we'll talk at you guys later. Have a great evening.